Summer routines live or die by how easy they are, and honestly, if something takes too much effort, I'm out. That's why Groons is my go-to. It's my one daily pack of gummies covering my greens, vitamins, and minerals. Plus, it has 6 grams of prebiotic fiber, which is more than 2 cups of broccoli. No mixing powders, no giant pills, no hassle. I just rip open the pack and I'm done. They taste good and they make it easy to stay on top of my health, even when life gets busy. Save up to 52% with the code PODCAST at Groons.co. That's code PODCAST at GRUNS.co.
Welcome to a bonus Jon Krawczynski show here at TalkNorth.com. We're talking on Friday morning after the Thursday night blowout of the Nuggets that was so much fun to cover. John and I were at the game. This is a bonus edition of the Jon Krawczynski show, so we're not going to do full ads. We're just going to kind of just have a quick conversation, keep you up to date on what's happening, and then we'll do our full show next week with ads and all the bells and whistles and a longer show. Again, this is a quick hit show. We just wanted to, this is kind of a way of saying thank you to all of our listeners, and a way of celebrating another playoff run, and a way of course, thanking everybody who makes this all possible. All right, John, what else should Jaden McDaniels speak into existence?
Man, that was impressive, wasn't it? I mean, it was funny. We talked to him at shoot-around the morning of the game, and he was a little bit bashful after being put through the ringer a bit the previous 2 days. But to see him come out and play the way that he did was so impressive. I mean, he literally named everyone that he was going after, and then he went after them and took them down. I mean, it was an extraordinary performance, and you could tell that everybody on the team just kind of followed his lead in that one, and he took the Nuggets apart all by himself. It was crazy.
The negatives of saying something that can galvanize the opponent are obvious and time-worn, and everybody knows it's a risk to come out and say it. But I got to tell you, I loved it because the way he said it. I loved it because he said it and it was true. And I also wasn't sure Denver was capable of playing better defense than they already were. So as risky as it might have seemed to the casual observer, I didn't think there was much risk of Denver suddenly becoming a great defensive team because they're angry at Jaden. I actually thought they might play harder and yet not much better. Honestly, though, they were incredibly passive. You know, my column today was about, I've never seen a great player just get out of the way as much as Jokic did last night. He did not, I mean, it wasn't that he was getting, sometimes he got beat. Yeah. Sometimes he just said, okay, somebody has the ball and they're getting near the rim. Let me move 10 feet away and just let them have the bucket. So Jaden was right on, and I just loved that he backed up his own words.
Yeah, and you know, Jim, I mean, I was there when he said it. And then you watch the video again of him delivering the call outs, and he said it with a coldness in his eyes that was like, I'm just telling you the truth. And he said it with a certainty that they don't have what it takes to summon. You can't just immediately become a good defender. What I like you, Jim, what I was surprised by was the lack of effort from Jokic. I thought it was a damning performance. When you talk about a 3-time MVP, someone who was in the MVP conversation all of this season, to be a matador at the rim the way that he was. You know, I was talking to a few people after the game, and you know, one of them mentioned to me, he's like, at some point you just knock someone's ass to the ground. And get a foul and send a message that, look, if you're coming in here, I may not be able to stop you, but it's going to hurt you when you do. And not Jokic, not Cam Johnson, not Spencer Jones, none of them were capable of doing that. Now, they can always figure that out in game 4 and see if they bring with that, but it's hard to see where they find the reservoir of want to and ability to turn that part of it around. Right now, as we sit here today on Friday morning, it looks like if the Timberwolves are disciplined enough to just keep going to the rim over and over and not like settle for the highlight threes and stuff, I don't know what the Nuggets do to counteract that. It looks that overwhelming in these last 2 games.
Yeah, the Wolves didn't even shoot well from 3 last night.
No.
And Edwards didn't even play more than, 24 minutes, and they still blew them out. And that's the big picture here that I want to get to you with. I felt like against the Suns, the Lakers, and the Warriors, 3 of the last 4 playoff victories for this franchise, I felt like before the series started, you say, okay, this is going to be interesting. They got to do this well. And you could have some angst about whether they had a chance. And then you get a few games in, maybe even 1 game in, you go, oh, the Wolves are just better. The Wolves have better players. You know, you look at the Nuggets. I mean, honestly, I know the Wolves did it to them to a certain extent, but I also was looking at that team without Aaron Gordon and saying they don't have many players that really scare you.
Yeah, I think that it's a combination of 2 things for me, Jim. One is the depth, certainly. I mean, when the Nuggets go to their second unit, they've already benched Valanciunas because he can't play in this series, and then the Wolves go to Naz Reid and Bones Highland and Ayo Dosunmu. There's just more guys that they can throw at the Nuggets than the Nuggets can throw at the Wolves. The second part that, to me, again, has been startling is Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic look tired, and it's game 3. They looked tired in game 2. It is way too early for that to be happening, but they look like they are out of gas. And so if that is the case, if there is something either physically holding both of them back, or if they just don't have the energy, it's impossible for Denver to win. Rudy Gobert, let's just say it right now, is outplaying Nikola Jokic in this series. And even in game one, he played, I think, a better game than Jokic did. Jokic got him at the end, but Rudy is completely flummoxing the best offensive player maybe of all time. And to watch him do that to a player who, again, let's state this, Jokic averaged 37.5 points a game against Victor Wembanyama this year. Like, no one stops him. And Rudy has absolutely gotten into his head, has absolutely gotten him off of his game, and it just cannot be sort of overstated how good he has been. And then you do get Jaden hounding Jamal Murray 94 feet and also going to the rim offensively. And when those 2 guys, when it's Rudy Gobert and Jaden McDaniels leading the charge the way that they have been, all of a sudden this Timberwolves defense looks a heck of a lot more like the 24 unit that was number 1 in the league by a wide margin, and a lot less like the unit that was just kind of okay, but not anything to scare an opponent this season. And right now they're scary. And so we'll see if they can sustain it, but I've just been shocked by how well Rudy has played in this series. Not that I didn't expect him to play well, but I didn't expect him to be winning this matchup one-on-one, mano-a-mano, like he has been.
What's going to be really funny after a year where Wolves fans are up in arms about every, questionable loss, and the Nuggets surge down the stretch to get the 3 seed. What's going to be really funny is if we get to the end of the series, you go, maybe the better way to go is coast through the regular season so you have your legs in the playoffs.
Man, I don't know. That's essentially what the Wolves have said all season long is like, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Don't worry about us. And, after game 1, you're like, really? And even after the first quarter of game 2, you're like, are you sure? And then here it's come. I do want to let everyone know that and remind people that in the 24 series, the Wolves dominated the first 2 games of that series and looked like they were headed to a sweep. And this was more of a coronation. And all of a sudden, Murray and Jokic came back with the fury and a force and turned the series around. That is still possible here. These 2 teams know each other so well. I would imagine, again, that now the Nuggets are going to have their manhood tested and challenged and questioned over this next 24 hours going into game 4. And so they are a proud group. They can easily respond and kind of get back into this thing and make it a longer series. But what we have seen over the last 7 quarters is a team that has a decided athletic advantage and understands how to deploy that now. The thing that I was looking for going into game 3 is I thought that Denver had another level to reach more so than the Wolves did. And really now you walk out of game 3 and the Wolves didn't get a whole lot from Ant, didn't get a whole lot from Julius Randle, and couldn't hit a 3 to save their lives, and they still won easily. And so they were the team saying, hey, we didn't even play all that well outside of defensively and Jaden McDaniels and Ayo Dosunmu. And so we're coming back for more in game 4. It's incredible how this whole series has just all of a sudden turned to make it look like the Wolves have a decided advantage when they were huge underdogs going into it.
Right. Let's get to the fans and the atmosphere at Target Center and a couple other topics here. Again, this is just a quick hit show. We'll do our full show next week. We are coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services studio. I want to thank Aquarius Home Services. Also want to thank Lexus, Wayzata, and Maplewood, which also sponsors Mark Rosen's show at TalkNorth.com. Welcome to Great Clips. I'm about to go to Great Clips and get my own haircut, both my haircut. Also want to thank TSR Injury Law, the OGs, 612-TSR Time. Thank True Vision Institute. John got LASIK done at True Vision, and that's why he doesn't wear glasses anymore, and he's thrilled about it. And thanks, as always, to sglambchops.com. This is an sglambchops.com t-shirt that I'm wearing right now. I love their sweatpants that you actually feel like you can wear them pretty much anywhere. They're great for travel, great for walking around North Loop. So thanks to all of our sponsors who make all this possible. We do appreciate it. And of course, we'll tell you more about all of our sponsors during our full-length show. So I saw a lot of fan commentary about how loud it was for game 3. And maybe I'm just spoiled because I thought it was a normal home playoff game atmosphere. Was it special to you, or are we just getting spoiled?
Actually, I will say I thought it was a cut above.
Okay.
But I will say it this way. This regular season had some really good crowds. It was not, especially at the start of the year, the place was not as full as it had been the year or two prior. And it also felt like a Target Center crowd that was waiting for the playoffs as much as the team was often waiting for the playoffs. There were certainly some moments where it was very loud in the arena during the regular season, but I thought walking into the arena prior to the tip-off on Thursday night, you could feel a palpable buzz that was different. And then I thought that for most of the game, they were really into the action the whole way. I think if it was going to be 0-2, Jim, everyone was going to be looking at their phones at what the Vikings were going to pick in the first round and kind of just like sort of into it. But I really think that Jaden McDaniels' comments not only inspired and got the team going, but I think that it got the fans going as well. They do not like Jamal Murray just like Jaden McDaniels doesn't like Jamal Murray. They hate when Jokic flops just like Jaden McDaniels hates when Jokic flops. And so any opportunity that they had to get on top of Denver in game 3, I thought they took, especially on a couple of those really special defensive possessions for the Wolves where McDaniels was in Murray's jersey, where Rudy was pushing Jokic off of his spots, where Randall was scrambling around to open shooters, and they were kind of chucking it at the end of the shot clock. You saw the whole crowd rise up and just get into it in a way that let everyone know that this is different now. Now we're in the playoffs, and this is a team now that needs to be recognized as a playoff rising team, at least in the first round. And so I thought that, I'll tell you this story quick. At halftime, Mike Breen, who is doing the game on Saturday, was there and we bumped into each other in the back hallway and just said hello. And he just said, "John, that crowd out there is insane right now." And I said, "Yeah, I felt it too." So Mike was certainly feeling something special. I thought it was just loud and crackling for most of the game. And there wasn't as much nervous energy sometimes as there can be with Minnesota sports fan crowds. And I thought there was more of like a bloodthirsty crowd. They wanted a pound of flesh, and Jaden McDaniels gave it to him.
There is a dream scenario here. If they can make short work of the Nuggets, let Anthony rest his knee a little bit, and he didn't have to play much in Game 3 because of foul trouble. All of a sudden, you have Wemby with a concussion, and I do not wish any ill to Wemby. I want him on the court.
Mm-hmm.
I love him. I want him on the court. And if the Wolves play them, I want them to have to beat them with Wemby on the court. But concussion, you don't know how that's going to play out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all of a sudden, Oklahoma City has a major injury. I'm not saying it's a clear path or it's an easy path, but it certainly is a more comfortable path than it looked like a week ago.
Well, yeah, I mean, what I would say is this, and what if Wemby is out for a while and Portland wins that series? Like,
that too.
And then the Wolves have home court advantage. But like, I think like, without getting too far ahead of ourselves, what we can absolutely say about the NBA playoffs is it is an endurance test like no other. This is a 2-month long, 2.5 month long slog through 4 rounds, and the team that has some luck and has maybe some younger legs and that can get through it in one piece is often the team that is best positioned to go deep. Now, you also worry about Anthony Edwards' knee, you worry about Naz Reid's shoulder, you worry about a few of the other things, but right now it seems like the Timberwolves are getting as healthy as possible at the right time, while Aaron Gordon is hurt, while who knows what's going on with Nikola Jokic, while Peyton Watson is hurt, while Wemby is banged up, while Jalen Williams, all of these things. And so you just never know. That's the kind of the aim, obviously, but like, just stay in the playoffs as long as you can, and then see if things break the right way. And so it is really possible, yes, that going forward, the path is opening up a little bit here. Obviously, though, they have 2 more wins to get against a really good team that can, I think, turn it on, that can shoot so much better, that can show a lot more energy. And so this series is far from over, but you look at just the way things are breaking right now, and it's not unfavorable to the Wolves right now.
Let's wrap up this quickie show with Jon telling us what you're going to be looking for in Game 4.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, what I look for in Game 4 is the Wolves are carrying themselves right now like they have a decided advantage. And so what is going to test them the most is this has often been an immature team, and a team that lacks some discipline. And so they have to understand that if they just stay to their game plan, which is do not settle for jump shots, get to the rim and attack, like, I just don't know what the Nuggets can do to counter that. Now, they can make more shots. They can try to turn this into 125 to 120 rather than, 105 to 98. And maybe that's their best option. But there's a cheat code that the Wolves have discovered. And now are they smart enough and disciplined enough to continue using that answer key every single question of the test and not kind of fall prey to, but I want to break him down and I want to go between the legs and step back and hit a 3 because that's going to get the biggest pop in the arena. Like, what is going to take their spirit more than anything is constantly go to the rim. It feels, Jim, like they are a run-first offensive team that is facing a defensive team on the football field that can't stop the run. And so you just keep handing the ball off and handing the ball off and handing the ball off.
Kevin O'Connell has no idea what you're talking about.
No idea. Like, this is not a series for Kevin O'Connell to coach. This is a series for Mike Ditka to coach. Like, that's where they're at right now. And so are they going to be able to adhere to that? And if they are, and if they do, they are in great shape.
Great stuff, Jon. Thanks for getting up early today. Thanks to everyone who listens. We appreciate it. Again, this is a bonus show. Full show will be next week. And who knows if the series will still be going on by the time we talk again.